Hey, I'm back. I wanted to do homework 24 because I noticed that I skipped it, and I wasn't sure why. Then I looked at it and I realized because I hadn't given you a grounding on this concept before, because it talks about angles, but unlike their usual interaction with angles, when you use degrees, and you remember how those work. So when we talk about angles, normally we talk about like something being, say, 45 degrees. This is actually fairly basic. What we actually use is something else called radians, which are way more accurate units of measurement, and they involve a symbol pi. So whenever you're dealing with radians, you're going to always have to use the number pi, right? And I was wrestling with how to present this to you, and I've been constructing a lesson that really goes you into nitty gritty of this, but I wanted to give you at least enough to get through this particular homework assignment. So a quick overview, and I'm going to get started after that. The first thing that you should know is that if I'm talking about radians, then I'm talking about how to measure angles using that measurement in the first place. And the only really important thing you really have to remember is that everything is based off the idea that 180 degrees is translatable or convertible into pi. So if you remember 180 being equal to pi, this should be really easy. And so this would be 180, and if this was 90, I'm going to be doing a more specific lesson about this in the future. But this is half of pi, so this would be literally pi over 2, right? And if I were to think of 45 degrees here, that would be half of pi, or pi over 4. So if you think of pi as 180 and divide by 4, you would in fact get 45 degrees. So that's their key to understanding everything we're doing here. And it's all based on versions of pi. This is 1/4 of pi. This is 2/4 of pi. This would be 3/4 of pi, or 3 pi over 4. And that would be 90 plus the extra 45 degrees, or 135 degrees. And then if we go with the idea, 1 over 4, 2 over 4, 3 over 4, this would be 4 over 4, or just 1 whole pi. If you think of it like that, it should be easy to get through this particular assignment, if nothing else. So let's get started with this one, and I hope you'll see what I mean when I do this one. So question number 1, these are conversion questions. They want us to convert degrees into radians, and remember, that's your key. You have to remember that if I'm going to take 75 degrees and convert it into radians, then my answer should have pi included in it in some way. So that's the first thing that you should remember. I'm going to move the pi symbol over so I have space for my answer. Okay, and we're going to work it here. 75 is equal to some form of pi. It could be a fraction, it could be a whole number, but something as a pi. And all you have to do is think about the fact that if I have 75, I'm going to need to use a conversion factor that'll give me pi on top, and that's going to be 180 over pi. Now, if I do that, I'm going to then go to, I'm going to move these together so that they can work with each other. 75 over 180 times pi. And now I need to reduce. And I have to think about what number will go into pi. 75 and 180 at the same time. And my first guess would be 5. And if I divide both of these by 5, I will get something. I'll get 15 pi over 180 divided by 5 is 36. And then I'd look to see if I can reduce this any further, and which I can. So I can reduce this by 3 at this point, and that would give me 5 pi over 12. And because this is my lowest reduced fraction, this is my answer. This is what would have gone here. So 5 pi over 12. Another way to check that would be to use your calculator and plug in what happens if I multiply 5 times 180, right? 5 times pi would be 5 times 180, and I would divide that by 12, not 0, it would be 12, and I get 75. So that's a way of checking that we're right about this. So that's what we're going to put into the block here. 5, you can type the letter pi, divided by 12. And we got that right. All right, so just remember this conversion of pi over 180. When I want to have pi on top, I want my answer to include a pi symbol, so I'm going to need to do it this way. Next question is going to be something along the same lines. So we're going to, oh boy, 558. Okay, so this is where you might want to use calculator to help you out here. 558, and we're going to multiply that by pi over 180, and that's going to turn this into 558 over 180 pi. And we need to reduce this. We need to figure out some way to reduce this. So the first thing I always like to do is I like to add the numbers up to see if it'll be reducible by 9, for example. In this case, it would be, because 5 and 5 and 8 is 18. And this is 18. So these will be the reducible. I can divide these both by 9. It'll make my life a little bit easier. So I'm going to go to the calculator and divide. Why is that here? Don't know why that's here. Let me clear. 558 divided by 9 will take us way down to 62. And that may or may not be our final destination, but we don't know yet. 62 pi over 180 divided by 9 is 20. All right, well, they're even numbers, and I definitely see that I can reduce 20 and 62 by 2. So I'm going to end up with 31 pi over 10. This should be my final answer because 31 is a prime number. Nothing else would go into it. So I'm going to put it in here. Shortcut is that you can type the letter pi, and it'll create the pi symbol divided by 10. And we should be correct. All right, so far so good. I hope this is making sense. It's just conversion. These are easy. When it comes to the stuff that's due afterwards, I'm going to have to really go into more in depth. Now we want to go the opposite direction. I'm going to do you a huge favor with this one. We're going to turn 5 pi over 3 from radians into degrees. And this is really much easier than the other way. Because all I have to do, as I said, think of pi as equaling 180, or being a substitute for 180. Because that's easy. Because if I do this, then I actually can move this so that the 180 divides the 3 instead, right? Same thing. And that's going to give you 5 times 60, and that's going to give us our final answer, which is 300. So 300 degrees is the same thing as 5 pi over 3. So I'm just going to put 300 here. Get answer. All right, not bad. It's easy, but it doesn't help you understand the concept, so I need to work with that, all right? So just bear with me until I come up with a video for that. Question number 4. Okay, same thing. But they'd like to give us these crazy little numbers to make life hard for us. 101. And again, pi is going to be a replacement for 180. And 180 can be a replacement for pi over 36. And if you remember, we can rearrange these in any way. I can do 101 divided by 36, but that's insanity. I can easily do 180 over 36, though, because 180 divided by 36, as we established before, is 5. And if I remember that, I have 505 degrees. It's a bizarre angle measurement, but whatever. Okay, so 505 will go here. Okay, I hope you're understanding this is really super easy. And if we're lucky, it's going to close off with the same kind of question. Let's see. Okay, now we have a table. And we have to turn the degrees into the radians. So let's do the conversions that we've done so far. 180 degrees equals pi. Remember that. That's your key. And if I do 18, I'm going to need to use my conversion of pi over 180. But again, I'm going to look at 18 divided by 180. That's easier, right? That's 1 over 10. So this actually comes out to pi over 10. That's what would go here. This would be pi over 10. Just remember that for sure. 60 degrees though. 60 degrees, pi over 180. And again, 60 divided by 180 is easy. That's 1 over 3. So this will be pi over 3. And that's what I'm going to put here. And hey, okay, 90 degrees. We talked about if 180 is pi, then 90 must be half of pi, or pi over 2. Okay, by doing that. So you're going to put those symbols, those values into the box right away. So pi, I'm going to try again. I thought I hit it. Pi over 10, and this will be pi over 3, and this will be pi over 2. And then they want to ask, if I'm going to do this with x equaling any given angle measurement down here, what would be the general structure of our solution, right? They want to know what would happen. And that would be, if I took x, any given x value as a measurement, I would need to multiply it by pi over 180. And that's what this wants, okay? And that's easy. If you think about it, it's easy. So I could do pi x over 180 or x pi over 180. I could do pi x divided by 180. And it'll take that. It would definitely take that. And we're going to prove it by hitting enter. We get everything right. But I could also have done, what else could we have done? Could have done x times pi over 180, because that's still correct. And it took that also. I'm not sure what it actually wanted, though, so let's take a look. okay, x times pi over 180. It doesn't make a difference. What it actually wanted to see, really, ideally, in its perfect little mixed up world, with something like that. But that would have been correct also. So it doesn't matter what you do. And this one looks like it's done. Looks like we finished this one in record time because it really was not a hard assignment at all. It only took about 10 minutes. And remember that pi over 180 is your conversion to get from degrees to radians. But if I want to go from radians to degrees, I just replace pi with 180 and simplify. So I hope that helps. And I will be creating a more detailed video about the other things that we're working on for this last bit of Math 115. All right. So in the meantime, I'll talk to you.